안녕하세요. 私は Excel tutorial ようこそ. Hey people, do you know how to analyze a set of data in Excel? Of course not, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video. Do you have an obsession with collecting private information from your peers and colleagues? Have you ever perhaps downloaded the entire assignment submission folder and run everyone's assignments through an AI detector, organizing it all neatly in a spreadsheet? Did the fact that most people miraculously have a 0% on their AI detection results upset you enough that you ran all the files through another AI detection service only to find that it wasn't consistent? Did you need more proof that AI detectors were unreliable and thus ran all the files through a grammar checker to find any correlation? If your answer to all those questions are yes, then you are exactly like Ahmed, who after having his assignment rejected for accusations of using AI, vowed to prove that AI detectors were in fact unreliable using the power of data and Excel. There's just one problem, however. Ahmed doesn't know how to use Excel, and much like you, he will eventually find it difficult to find a job because most companies value a baseline ability in using Excel more than any degree. Worry not, however, for I am here to teach you a few handy tricks that will elevate you from an Excel noob to an Excel pro.
So here we have all the data we need. Here we have word count, sentences, grammatical errors, number of references, and the AI detection results from two different services. So we have all this data, but we want to keep things organized. We want to do our data analysis in a different file, or as Excel calls them, workbooks. To do so, click on File up here, click on New, and click on New Blank Workbook. This will create a separate file, or as Excel calls it, workbook, just completely empty, which is perfect for our purposes. So go back to the previous file, select the left top corner cell, which is what each box is called in Excel. Click on it and drag. Click on it and hold, and then drag your mouse to the other edge. This selects all the cells which contain the relevant data. Next, hold Control and press C. This combination is called a shortcut, and Control C specifically is the shortcut for copying. Going back to our newly created workbook, we do something similar, but this time we hold Control and press V, which is the shortcut for pasting. As you can see, all the data has been transferred here without disrupting the original file. But what you will notice is that the cells do not change size according to what is in them. As you can see, some things get cut off and some things bleed out. So we need to, oh, that's a bit much. Excuse me for my interruption, but do you still resize cells manually by dragging and clicking around? Do you get frustrated that sometimes it is inaccurate or off by a few pixels? Well, worry not. First, click, hold, and drag your cursor to select the entire table. Next, go to the top and search for this option, Auto Fit Selection. Click it, and you will see that your entire table has adjusted automatically to fit everything. Next, we want to calculate the average grammatical errors per sentences to gather more accurate data, considering that every paper has a different word count. So to start off, we select from this cell over to here, and this time click Control X, which is the shortcut for cutting. Then click on this cell and Control V to paste it. Technically, this action cuts the selection out and then repastes it somewhere else. In this case, it allows us to move this entire block very easily. As you can see though, it does not fit properly, so we simply have to do what we did earlier and do auto fit selection. Next, go into the cell and simply type grammatical errors per sentence. As you can see, this too does not fit, so simply do auto fit selection again, and we got it to fit. Next, we want to calculate grammatical errors per sentence. Thus, we have to create a formula. How do we create a formula? Well, every formula in Excel starts with an equal sign, and then we want to grab this value, so simply click it, and we get the coordinates of the cell. Now, to divide it by the number of sentences, we can use slash as a representative for dividing, and then click on sentences, and bam, we have this value. But as you can see, the decimal places are too much. So select the cell, click home, which will pull down this, and we go to this tab here, which, as you see here, is the number format, in which you can choose the format for your cells, such as percentage, currency, date, or time. For us though, we will simply use number, which reduces it to 2 decimal places. And then to center it, click here, and now we have the grammatical errors per sentence for this paper. But what about the rest? Do we have to repeat what we did earlier for every single entry? No. What we can do is grab this thing, this little dot here, and pull it down all the way to the bottom. As you can see, the values in here are different. This is because when you pull that handle, it automatically detects a pattern and it auto-completes it. A simpler example of how this works would be to use 1, 2, 3. And as you can see, it is simply counting normally. But if you pull it down all the way to A15, you will see that it autofills to number 15. This does not just apply to normal counting, as we can also do patterns with 5, 10, 15. Selecting all this and pulling it down, we will see that it follows the pattern as well. Now that we have all the relevant data, how do we analyze it? How do we make connections between grammatical errors and AI detection results? The easiest way to do so would be using graphs. But how do we make graphs using these values? Well, let me show you. To start with, select the column for grammatical errors per sentence. After that, we want to select the AI detection results. But if we try to select them now, it would deselect our selection earlier. So how do we prevent it from deselecting? By holding Control, we can select multiple columns at once. To create a graph out of this data, go to the Insert tab in the ribbon and click on this, which is Insert Line or Area Chart. Here you would be prompted to select what kind of chart you want. For me, or for our purposes, we will use a simple line chart. So simply click it, and we get our chart. To make things prettier, we can rename the title by just double clicking the title and naming it something like Correlation between grammatical errors and AI detection results. And as you can see, it readjusts accordingly. So now we can finally analyze the data. To avoid all of our hard work to be lost, we should save. There are typically 2 ways to save. One is to go to File and Save or Save As. However, a quicker way would be to use a shortcut. The shortcut for saving is Control S. Now, if the file has never been saved before, it will prompt you to make a new file. So we can simply name it something like data analysis and save.